Well, welcome back to the final whistle there for another stream on the channel. And the Nation Thailand article today about King Power, a tale of the rise and ruin of King Power. And what could that mean for Leicester City Football Club, by the way? As King Power, unpayable debts and things like that have been reported today regarding King Power and what is going on in Thailand. And obviously Leicester City, owner top, obviously owns the business. He's now, I think it was the last few days, they've been moving a few things around at King Power, haven't they, regarding Top stepping down as CEO to become executive chairman there. And now everything seems to become very much clear of why these things have been moved around and that. And we're going to discuss it. We're going to have a look through the article, what it's about, and potentially we're going to discuss what it could mean for Leicester City Football Club, because it doesn't seem to read very much good in what I was reading today. Obviously, I got sent the article and what it means for the club. And if things do seem to be not going the way they are and they do collapse, then Leicester City would probably very much need to be sold. So it's absolutely madness. I couldn't believe what I was reading when I read it. Dave, how are we, mate? There's just been a lot of radio silence, haven't they, regarding everything with Leicester City, what is going on, what needs to change, and then things like this pop up and you think, wow, okay, this puts it into a new perspective. What does it mean for the club? Well, if it doesn't really get sorted and it collapses, then the club's going to need to be sold, isn't it? Let's be fair. Obviously, Leicester City's revenue does go into King Power, doesn't it? Afternoon, Jack. Your workhorse with these lives. Love the content. What do you do for a living? Is it full-time content or something else on top? This is just a hobby, mate, to be honest. Obviously, I do other things, but not. This is just a whole hobby thing regarding the channel and that. But, yeah, if you DM me, mate, then I'm sure to let you know. But, yeah, guys, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. We're going to discuss, is King Power in big trouble, with a question mark this afternoon. We thought we'd get everyone's thoughts on it. And it just seems thought the club was now in touch. It is in his name, yeah, it is. And obviously they own King Power, don't they, the family? So they own both businesses. And Thailand's, is it the AOT? I think they've lost. I think the stock's gone down, hasn't it? And what I was reading in another article the other day. So, yeah, something to do with the contracts and that. So, there's a lot of reading in between the lines of what's happening. And it just seems very much like what is happening and what are we not being told. So, I don't know. We're going to have a look at the article together. And yeah, I'm going to share it, and we're going to discuss a tale of rise and ruin of King Power. So this is the article. Let me get rid of that. I do apologise. I don't know what bloody that is. So that come out on Sunday, the 22nd of June, 2025, from Nogluk Ajapanya. I think he's an article for the journalist for the Nation in Thailand. King Power, a tale of rise and ruin. So let's have a look. So how Thailand's duty-free giant went from political darling to financial purry in a space of 5 years. The gleaming corridors of Thailand's airports tell a story of extraordinary rise and spectacular fall. For 3 decades, King Power has wielded nearly absolute control over the kingdom's duty-free empire, generating billions while weathering corruption scandals that would have failed lesser enterprises. Today, that empire teeters on the brink of collapse. Jesus, it bloody gets mad the more you read it. Any transfer news regarding that? No, there's nothing on transfers, Mr. Mate. There's very much nothing on that one. I am trying to discuss it quite freely with you while I do chat about this. I do apologise for the bloody signal problems if anyone's bloody looking like I've got signal problems, by the way. But so in boardrooms across Bangkok, executives are grappling with a crisis that threatens to reshape Thailand's aviation landscape. King Power, once the untouchable darling of successors, government has formally invoked force majorly clauses across 4 major airports, desperately seeking to renegotiate contracts that have become billions around the company's neck. It's pretty crazy. Is a link being sent out? No, there won't be. No, I don't think. I'm just reading what John says. I just think King Power are restructuring the top to bottom to make sure they can steady the ship and feel Topsmum is heavily involved. It's crazy, John, though, isn't it, mate, with what you read here regarding it all. I'd put it on a bloody bigger page, but the numbers paint a stark picture of corporate distress. King Power's current liabilities have surged dramatically, whilst in its debt to equity ratio reached perilously level in 2023 for Airport Thailand. The start of the enterprise has grown dependent on King Power's guaranteed payments. The implications are profound. I think it's all to do with people that visit Thailand, isn't it? I think obviously that's where all the economic stuff comes from. Duty-free concessions account for a substantial portion of Airport of Thailand's revenue, and any reduction could trigger losses exceeds to 20 billion baht. An immediate catalyst appears straightforward enough. Thailand's tourism sector faces a projected contraction in 2025, with Chinese visitors, King Power's most lucrative customers, continuing their decline. Factors ranging from increased domestic travel within China to safety concerns about Thailand have fundamentally altered the market dynamics upon King Power built its business model. Yes, the roots of this crisis stretch further deeper into murky water, political favoritism, regulatory capture, and what crisis has long argued amounts of cinematic corruption. Origins of controversy. King Power's stranglehold on Thailand's duty-free market began in 2005 with its operations to newly opened Suvarnabhumi airport. From the outset of there's like multiple airports. Controversy deepened in 2007. Should have fallen under the Public-Private Partnership Act, which mandates transparency bidding processes for major infrastructure. A previous evaluation, which claimed the project fell below the 1 billion baht threshold for PPP Act scrutiny, which was found fundamentally. The cover-up of allegations, that was in 2011, despite recommendations from both the Ombudsman and the NRSA to dismiss the Airport of Thailand board and revoke King Power's concession, their military leading declined at the monopoly survived, and its particularly protection seemingly impregnable. That's bloody crazy, mate, what you actually read, honestly. Ross, they won't release any statement. They'll probably wish, well, I don't know, but I'm just bloody reading it. I'm just bloody trying to get my head around this financial stuff and that. I'm not a bloody lawyer. I don't know much about this stuff. I did study bloody business studies and that, so I'm just trying to get everything into context of what it is and stuff like that. So when COVID struck in early 2020, King Power's political connection proved their worth once again, whilst other airports operators received standard relief measures. King Power's secured extraordinary treatment. AOT's board waived the company's minimum guarantee payments for a full 2 years until March 2022, a period significantly longer than the affordable to other concessionaires. The waiver alone was projected to reduce AOT's profits by more than 20 billion baht, refreshing questions of whether a private company should receive treatment during a national crisis. The rescue mission is what we're looking at here. Faced with mounting financial pressure as the real aspect and prospect of contract termination, King Power is moved to install new leadership with its immediate knowledge of AOT's operations. On June the 4th, the company announced a significant restructure that placed Nitinai Sersmatakon, former AOT president for the 2 years in the chief executive chair. The appointment represents a strategy gambit that some observers view as inspired, others as desperate, as Ayawat Sri Bradapapa, son of King Power's late founder, moves to the role of executive chair, whilst his mother, Imon, becomes senior chairman. The elevation, which is deep understanding of the airport's operations and the Thai tourism sector, signals King Power's recognition that only insider knowledge may now save the company. What is it? There's industry analysis are divided on whether this leadership reshuffle can address fundamental structural problems. This is tragic. Desperation observes one alleviation of consultant who spoke on condition of anonymity. They brought in someone who knows the airport of Thailand's inner workings, both its strengths and vulnerabilities, understands the public landscape that King Power created a monopoly. Yet other questions whether inside knowledge can solve what ultimately business model failures. King Power over leverages itself with unsustainable minimum guarantee commitments, argues a retail sector specialist. No amount of political news can change the mathematics of tourism decline and excessive debt. I'm trying to bloody get my bloody head around all this. Hey, mate. How are we, Reese? Hope you're well. This is shocking news. It bloody is. It's mad the bloody more you bloody read into these things, because nothing ever gets said of how the business is being run, does it? Let's be honest, or what is happening, because King Power obviously own Leicester City, and yeah, Leicester did own quite a bit of money to King Power, but top obviously written off that debt on 2 occasions. So yeah, I'm just reading more into it. High stakes negotiations have established a committee supported by the university consultants to analyse King Power's quest with a 60-day time frame. Negotiations will determine not merely of the fate of the Thailand most controversial monopoly, but the broadcast question of how state enterprises should manage relationships with private partners. The dilemma is acute. The state enterprise must balance supporting its primary source whilst avoiding continued favoritism. If King Power's minimum guarantee payments are reduced, AOT faces significant revenue shortfalls that will ultimately impact Thailand's aviation infrastructure of development. Conversely, should negotiations fail and King Power terminate its contract, AOT retains the right to call upon 11 billion baht bank guarantee. Yet contract termination would necessarily a new bidding process. They could take more than 6 months, leaving major airports terminals without duty-free operations in the interim. King Power's crisis extends beyond corporate rooms to touch fundamental questions about governance, competition, and the role of political connections in the Thai business. For 3 decades, the company has demonstrated how regularly capturing political patronage can create seemingly impregnable commercial positions. The current crisis may finally test whether such arrangements can survive changing economic realities in Thailand. Tourism sectors face structural challenges that will extend well beyond the pandemic's immediate impact. The reckoning. So as Thailand's Duty-free empire confronts its moment of truth. The outcome will establish important procedures for how the kingdom manages the public-private partnerships. Should King Power secure favourable contracts negotiations, critics will inevitably question whether political connections continue to trump commercial realities. Should the company fail to reach accommodation with AOT, it would represent a rare instance of commercial failure overwhelming a political protection in Thailand's business. It says on here, King Power's operations for the millions of travellers who pass through Thailand's airports, actually the stakes could hardly be higher. The next 60 days will determine whether one of Southeast Asia's most controversial monopolies adapts to new realities or becomes a cautiously tale about the dangers of regularity, capture, and political favoritism. Whatever the outcome, King Power's crisis marks the end of an era in Thailand's business, one of where political connections seem sufficient to guarantee commercial success regardless of market fundamentals. In boardrooms across the kingdom, executives taking note now the age of untouchable monopolies may finally be drawing to a close. It seems very much worrying. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of change in King Power over the last few days regarding CEO of AOT coming in and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's madness. So with this news, Jack, that came in the mud, I wonder if it would make it. I'm not sure. I really am not sure about how this sort of preserves its way. I mean, it's one that we've obviously spoken about. So, yeah, it's fundamentally now what happens in this next 60 days at King Power. Will they live with the new project going forward with the changes that they've made, or will they plummet? Is the big question in the brink of collapse. So, yeah, it's interesting with... Well, explain the situation, please, Jack. I'm a bit confused. If you go back on what I've from the start, you can see me reading through the article and what it actually means. So, say they was on the brink of collapse and it did collapse, I think they'd very much have to sell Leicester City. It's bloody crazy. There's been a lot on social media though regarding what happens and readings of different things, and it's very worrying times because obviously Leicester City is the second business, isn't it, what King Power own, and a lot of the money is made through King Power through duty free and that. I think it's about time now. It's crazy, honestly. It is mad. That is the thing. I'm just trying to. It's kind of sad. Everything's been built. I'm just trying to see what else I can actually find. So the reports have come out saying it's capable of running. It's gone. Not only has the football club been, as I said, could possibly force a sale, which held everything together, not just here, but at home as well. Don't forget the family billionaires. I'm sure they can get things running again. Yeah, I'm not saying they can't, John. This is the thing. I was just reading with what the main sort of tabloid has said regarding King Power and what it means. The brink of, like I say, collapse. You know, it's just mad what you read and what is exactly coming out, and you see behind the scenes it doesn't look like things are great. Let's be honest. Not just at Leicester City with PSR and that, but with King Power as well. And it remains now in these next few months to see how things can get sorted, and if they can get sorted, and what it actually means. I think the club is now owned personally by Tarp and not King Power after a share transfer. Maybe so, Tony. Maybe so. But obviously a lot of money comes through King Power, doesn't it? With obviously Top owns money with King Power, which is a separate business again. And he's obviously paid off a lot of debts, hasn't he? So this is where it sort of goes now, because Top does own King Power. He has paid a lot of debts off what Leicester City have owned to King Power in money and that. And duty free is what brings the money in with King Power, doesn't it? They own, what do they own over there? Hotels, shopping centres, and all that. It is a big business. It is. King Power's debts are written off by equity transfer. Yeah, I think there's a lot of shares though, aren't they? What obviously money does get put into and that, but I don't know. Let me thoughts. I mean, it's just crazy with what you read and where things sort of go from here. I was just reading some of the reactions on obviously X and that with what is going on. But like I say, it could be defined. Someone put TLDR. I think it's to Thailand. King Power can't afford to pay current fees due to understandable payment commitments. The government will either reduce the contracts or terminate the contract. If it gets terminated, it's mad, honestly. Just trying to bloody get the different things up. But it's just mad with the whole FFP thing, which means they will maybe be forced to sell their assets. Maybe that's what it'll come to. I'm not sure, but I thought King Power had all kinds of money. We just couldn't spend it due to PSR. I don't know. Yes, it has paid debts off, but with his own money, not King Power's. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've said that. Obviously, Top's paid off the debts with his own money. Only large creditor now is the Aussie Bank. Yeah, obviously there's been recent loans obviously taken out there, hasn't it? Obviously, a lot of teams, don't they, take money out of banks and that, don't they, to run different things, and it's just mad how things sort of transpire. But guys, if you enjoyed the stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts on what we've discussed regarding the article, and yeah, be sure to let me know if you're watching this on playback what your initial thoughts are on this. I've read through the article. Let me know your thoughts on what you thought of the article as well. It's good to see everyone getting their comments in as always. Really respect it. And we just thought we'd discuss it really because we felt it was a topic to discuss. And yeah, that is it. But yeah, go and check out my recent stream with Jacob Horsfall on is Sean Dykes for Leicester City, is obviously the ex-Burnley man, has been linked to the King Power Stadium to replace Ruud van Nistelrooy. And we'll see what's happening regarding that one as well. As it has been reported that Ruud van Nistelrooy will be leaving Leicester City after July 1st. Obviously, July 1st is his birthday. So maybe they've sort of reconsidered and move it to July the 2nd. I don't know. But a lot of questions are needing to be answered, aren't they? And hopefully we'll see a lot more over the next coming weeks and that. And yeah, hopefully a lot more comes to light now. But maybe a statement gets brought out regarding this situation with King Power and that, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great rest of the afternoon, wherever you ought to. Keep it at the final whistle, and thanks for watching.